Hello, welcome back to a new lesson. I am so happy you have decided to join me today. Okay, so we have a wonderful activity to begin today's lesson. So you're going to have to pause the video for this activity, and the link is going to be posted here with the video on the comments. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are going to open that link, and this is what you are going to see. Okay, so from here, you are going to click on this button.
Oh no! Bertie took Floyd's book. Put the pictures in the order that they happened in the story. Click on a picture.
And that's
Then
exactly
move it
what
to the
you
box where
are
it
going to
belongs.
do. Okay, so again, pause the video and complete the activity as many times as you want. Okay, friends? Okay. Okay, so I hope that was fun and instructional at the same time. And with this, we have arrived at our topic today. Now, this is a topic that we have seen before, but it is kind of a building block for our next two lessons. Okay, so hopefully you're not going to skip this one because it's totally necessary. And as usual, our lessons are aligned with the EDGE curriculum, but they're also aligned with our examination, okay, and our can do's. So here we go. The clear learning target for this lesson is I can read a fiction story. I can name and identify four elements of a fiction story. Okay, so how about we read this together? Let's do it. I can read a fiction story. I can name and identify four elements of a fiction story. Okay, okay, so elements. What are elements? Well, an element is a part of something, okay? So in media, IT, we have different types of elements. It depends on what we're looking at. But we have phones, we have tablets, Chromebooks, computers. So all of that is elements of media, right? Now, if I'm looking at chemistry, again, we have way too many different elements. We have the periodic table, those are different elements. Plus, we also have items that are part of chemistry or part of physics, things like that. The same thing with mathematics, okay? We have different elements in mathematics as well. So you see, elements are everywhere. And so we have them as well in literacy. Okay, so here we go. We have different elements in literacy as well. And that, friends, is what we are going to be concentrating on today. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is to stop the video for just a second and think about a story that you have heard recently or when you were a young person, a kid, okay? Or younger than you are now. So again, we're going to just pause the video and name a story that you heard when you were growing up as a child or recently. Now, remember that a story can be told through a movie. So you can be telling me a movie, of the title of a movie, okay? Or a book, okay? It could be a chapter book, or it could be fictional story. It could be a um, real story that was made into a life of somebody that was made into a story. It doesn't really matter, just name a story that you heard as a child or that you have heard or read recently. Okay, so again, pause the video about 5 minutes and then drop your story title on the chat. Okay. Okay, so my neighbor's dog is not telling you the title of the story, or perhaps he is. Perhaps he is trying to communicate with us what story he has read recently or heard. One story that a movie that I actually watched yesterday, and remember, stories can be movies as well, was Miss Congeniality. I love that movie. Doesn't matter how many times I read watch that movie, I still want to watch it over and over again. Okay, friends. So let's go ahead and what are the elements of a story? Let's go ahead and recap on that. Okay, so the elements of a story are the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution. That is the overview of the elements of a story. Now, this is a simplistic one. Okay, there are other things that are in the elements of a story, but this is what we are going to be concentrating on. Okay. Okay, so as we all know, the characters are the who, right? Who is in the story? Okay, so it could be a what, because if it's an animal or creature, but because they are the characters of the story and they are alive, they are the who. So usually what you need to do when you're trying to determine who are the characters, think about people that are either talking, acting, or thinking. Okay, some characters might just think. So let's say that you read the comics from Garfield and his cat, and and John. Garfield is the cat. Usually Garfield is thinking, right? He's not actually talking aloud, but he is an active character in that comics. Okay, so he is also a character, or it is also a character. So characters are creatures, animals, people in the story. Okay, um, it can be also trees in the story. Have you watched The Lord of the Rings? Yeah, some trees there, they're called elks or something, elms, something like that. I forget the name of those trees, but they do talk and they move. Okay, so they're also characters in the story. Have you seen the movie Aladdin and how the cave talks? Well, the cave is also a character in that story. So anything that talks, thinks, acts, that actually has a way of influencing or affecting the story, it's probably a character. Okay. Okay, good. So how about you pause the video and on the chat, name one of the characters in the story that you mentioned before. Okay, beautiful. The next element we are going to see is the setting. And let's remember that the setting is when and where the story takes place. So we're talking about time and we're also talking about place. Time can be time of the year, like a season. It can be the time of the day. It can be once upon a time. Time is very fluid when we are talking about setting. Um, the where is usually the place, okay? But again, places can be many, many things as well. So just remember that. So if I go back to my Miss Congeniality story or movie that I watched last night, I can tell you that first of all, let me just go ahead and mention my character. My main character or my protagonist is Gracie Hart, an FBI agent, right? And the setting for this specific movie was the beauty pageant, the Universal. Have you seen that pageant? I'm sure you have. Many people watch that pageant, and I know that I was a fan when I was a lot younger. But anyways, that is the setting because it happens in a beauty pageant. So remember that I said that the setting can be very fluid. Okay. So friends, what I need you to do now is I need you to go ahead and pause the video And write the setting for the story that you mentioned above. Okay, so the story that you read either heard either as a child or recently. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause the video about 5 minutes, and then please come back to me. Excellent. Let's go ahead and look at the next element that we are going to review today, and that is the conflict, right? So the conflict is usually the problem in the story. Now, remember, stories can have many different conflicts, okay? There is the main conflict that is moving the story along, but there are also little conflicts here and there that evolve as the story progresses, okay? So, for example, here we have our, if you notice over here in my illustration, um, we have somebody's trying to solve a mystery, right? Or we have fears. Look at that cat is very afraid, or getting in trouble for something that you did. Sorry about that. Being poor could be a conflict, or facing evil. In my story for Miss Congeniality is actually trying to solve a mystery, right? Somebody wants to kill somebody else, and Miss Hart has to find the person before they actually commit the crime, right? To avoid the person from killing someone. So that is the main conflict that is moving the story along. But there are other conflicts that arises, like for example, when they're trying to make it into a beauty. She was not very beautiful at the beginning. If you have watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So that was a small conflict right there that they had to actually find the solution for, right? And so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, so the next story element that we are going to see on the last one actually is the solution. Okay, so the solution is the resolution. We have also heard resolution is also that. So how is the problem or the different conflicts solved all the way to the end, right? Um, so if you notice my illustration, okay, for the person that was poor, she married a prince, right? And catching the bad person if you're facing evil, right? Um, Facing your fears by killing the dragon, right? So there are different ways to find resolution. In my story, they actually caught the killer before he killed anyone, right? So that's what I want you to do now. Pause the video and tell me what was the resolution in your story. Friends, with this, we have arrived at the end of our lesson, and it is your turn to practice. Remember, as usual, you are going to find the activity on your course, either or either could be in your Canvas course, or it could be on your Google Classroom, depending what platform your teacher is going to use. So there are two things that you're going to find there. You're going to find the story of the Little Prince. So here we have the story. I'm going to show it to you. So you're going to read the story of the Little Prince. Okay. And then after that, friends, you are going to complete the elements of a story chart. Okay. The circle chart that I have also uploaded for you there. With that, I want to thank you one more time for joining me today. And I hope that this lesson is useful to you. And remember, this is like a stepping stone, because the next two lessons are going to be related to this topic. Have a wonderful day.